The footage you're about to see isn't from a horror movie. This is real, captured by a security camera in a quiet suburban home, a lot like yours. For one family, the nightmare wasn't on a screen. It was speaking to their 8-year-old daughter in her bedroom. For a young couple, it was the chilling realization that someone was methodically casing their house by hiding in plain sight. And for another, the horror was discovered on their own living room floor, where a man had watched them sleep for 15 silent minutes before taking a purse. These are 3 true, terrifying stories caught on home security cameras. We have an unspoken agreement with the places we call home. We put up fences, we lock the doors, and we trust that the walls will keep the dangers of the world out. It's our sanctuary, the one place on earth where we're supposed to feel completely safe. But the security cameras in these stories captured moments that shattered that illusion forever. They prove that even the deepest sense of security can be broken in an instant. We'll start with a strange noise in a child's bedroom and a voice that turned a symbol of safety into a source of terror. Then, we'll move to a neighborhood so peaceful that no one noticed, a silent observer disguised as a piece of the landscape. And we'll end with a discovery so chilling it left an entire community gripped with fear, a discovery made just feet from where a family slept. Story 1. The Digital Predator. We think of our homes as the safest spaces, and no room feels more sacred than a child's bedroom. It's a haven of imagination, filled with toys and bedtime stories. For Ashley LeMay, a nurse and mother in Mississippi, protecting this sanctuary was everything. Working overnight shifts, she wanted a way to feel connected to her 3 daughters, to check in and see them sleeping soundly, like millions of other parents. She decided on a Ring security camera for her children's room. It promised peace of mind. For 4 days, the camera was a silent guardian in the corner, working just as intended. But on the 5th day, that peace was shattered, not by a broken window, but by a ghost in the machine. Her 8-year-old daughter, Alyssa, was in her room alone when she heard a strange, high-pitched song begin to play from the camera's speaker. It was the haunting tune of Tiptoe Through the Tulips, a song already made unsettling by its use in the horror film Insidious. Confused, Alyssa walked toward the camera. "Who is that?" she asked the empty room. The music stopped. A man's voice responded, coming directly from the camera. "I'm your best friend," it said. "I'm Santa Claus." The voice was calm, which made what came next even more terrifying. "Don't you want to be my best friend?" it asked. Alyssa, realizing the voice was coming from the device her parents installed to protect her, was frozen. The digital predator, hiding behind a Wi-Fi signal, continued his torment, encouraging her to mess up her room and break her television. "You can do whatever you want right now," the voice taunted. The terror in that room is hard to imagine. A space that was supposed to be hers was now invaded by an unseen man who could see her every move. Alyssa began screaming for her mother. The hacker continued to taunt her until her parents, hearing the screams, rushed in and disconnected the camera, silencing the intruder. But the damage was done. Later, Ashley LeMay watched the footage of her worst nightmare. "I can't even put into words how violated I feel," she told reporters. The family had installed the camera for security, but in doing so, they had unwittingly opened a portal. They could have watched them sleeping, changing. They could have seen all kinds of things, she said. Alyssa was terrified and said she was scared of her own room for days after. The LeMay family story became a high-profile example of a terrifying trend. It wasn't an isolated incident. In Cape Coral, Florida, a hacker had spewed racist remarks at a family through their living room camera. In another case near Chicago, a father's blood ran cold when he heard a deep voice speaking to his 7-month-old baby through a Nest camera. That hacker went on to hurl obscenities at the couple. The vulnerability wasn't a sophisticated hack against the cameras themselves, but something far more common: human error. Hackers get their hands on lists of emails and passwords from data breaches on other websites. They then use programs known as credential stuffing attacks to automatically try those same logins on thousands of camera accounts, just waiting for a hit. While reused passwords were the main entry point, the incidents also highlighted how camera companies needed to implement stronger default security. In response, companies like Ring made two-factor authentication mandatory, adding a critical second layer of defense. But for families like the LeMays, the knowledge that a stranger watched and spoke to their child is a horror that no software update can erase. It's a chilling reminder that in our connected world, the monsters aren't just under the bed. Sometimes they're in the very devices we trust to keep them out. As terrifying as that was, sometimes the intruder isn't a disembodied voice from across the globe. Sometimes they're much closer, hiding in plain sight, just waiting for the right moment. Before we get to our next story, if you find these strange and mysterious tales compelling, take a second to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. It really helps the channel out. Story 2, The Clay Rock Spy. The suburbs of Southern California are known for their picturesque, almost impossibly perfect streets. On Glen Ridge Drive in Chino Hills, that profound sense of safety was about to be demolished by a small, unassuming object that looked like a misplaced piece of landscaping. In May of 2024, a resident was walking when something caught his eye. On the public median strip across from his neighbor's house was a weird, awkward-looking lump of leaves. He leaned in for a closer look and realized it wasn't just leaves. It was a camera, meticulously wrapped in clay to look like a rock, and it was hooked up to a portable power bank, a cordless, self-contained spying device designed to blend in. The lens was pointed directly at the home of his neighbor, James Dimapasuk. The man immediately alerted his neighbor. Dimapasuk was horrified. "I was scared," he told a news reporter. "My wife was crying." The idea that someone had been secretly recording their home and their family was a profound violation. Before handing the device over to the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, Dimapasuk cleverly downloaded the video from its memory card. The footage revealed the moment the camera was planted. On April 29th, days before its discovery, a person in garden gloves carefully tucked the device into the dirt. A moment later, that person, wearing a helmet and a hat, was seen leaving on a scooter. Dimapasuk checked his own Ring doorbell, which caught a distant angle of the person, but it was too far to get a clear description. This was no random prank. The police investigation revealed an even more unsettling detail: the device was transmitting video using nearby cell towers. This wasn't just passively recording for someone to retrieve later, it was capable of live streaming. Someone, somewhere, could have been watching their home in real time, learning their schedules when they left for work, when their kids came home from school, when the house was empty. Police believed the most likely motive was burglary, with a burglar casing the neighborhood for the perfect time to strike. But a neighbor voiced a darker fear. "This is a street where our junior high students walk," she said. "It almost concerns me that maybe they're watching a particular child." The discovery sent a shockwave through the quiet streets. Neighbors began anxiously checking their own properties. "Just because we thought We were safe in our own home. Apparently you're not, one woman said. Dimapasuk, a business owner, had no idea why he'd be targeted. In a message to the person who planted the camera, he was blunt. I have no money. So, whatever you're doing, if it's money or whatnot, I got nothing. I don't know why you're doing it. Just stop. This case highlights a disturbing form of modern surveillance. Inexpensive, battery-powered IP cameras are easy to buy online and can be disguised as almost anything. When placed in public spaces, they operate in a tricky legal area. While aiming a camera into a home can be a criminal offense, proving intent is often difficult, and privacy laws vary from place to place. The person in Chino Hills was smart enough to wear gloves and plant the camera from a public median. For the residents of Glen Ridge Drive, the Clay Rock Spy was a terrifying lesson. The danger doesn't always announce itself. It's a reminder that even in the most peaceful neighborhoods, you never truly know who is watching. Our final story is a reminder that sometimes the most terrifying discoveries are the ones you make yourself. It gets at the most primal fear of home invasion, not the loss of property, but the silent, chilling presence of an intruder in your sanctuary. And this one was found just feet from where a family slept, not because of an alarm, but because they reviewed the footage the next morning. Story 3, The Sleeper Watcher. Jack McArcher and his girlfriend, Jordan, lived in Bucktown, a vibrant Chicago neighborhood known for its lively streets and safe reputation. One Monday morning, that sense of security was destroyed. It started with a simple frustration. Jordan couldn't find her purse. She was sure she'd had it the night before when they fell asleep on the couch watching Netflix. Jack, thinking she'd misplaced it, decided to check the footage from their home security camera, which they mainly used to watch their 2 dogs. He rewound to around 3:30 a.m. He expected to see an empty living room. Instead, his blood ran cold. The footage showed a hooded figure at the top of their staircase. The man had gotten in through an unlocked sliding door on the upper floor balcony. One mistake was all it took. As Jack later said, "You leave the door unlocked one time, and this is what happens." The intruder made no sound, not even waking the couple's 2 dogs. But the figure on camera didn't rush to grab valuables. He did something far more unnerving. He stood motionless at the top of the stairs, a dark silhouette, and just watched them. Jack and Jordan were asleep on the couch right below, completely unaware that a stranger was looking down on them. The man's movements were disturbingly slow. When Jack showed the video to the police, they asked him if it was in slow motion. It wasn't. That's just how slowly the man was moving. For 15 solid minutes, he stood there. 15 minutes of silent, voyeuristic terror. He even seemed to watch the end of the movie they'd left on. When the credits rolled and the screen went dark, the apartment fell quiet. It was then, as if on cue, that the couple on the couch started to stir. The footage shows the moment the intruder saw them waking up. He didn't panic. He just slowly and silently crept back out the way he came. We realized what had happened, and we were both like, "What the hell? Is this real?" Jack said. It was really quite creepy. The only thing the man stole was Jordan's purse, the very thing that made them check the camera. The financial loss was nothing compared to the psychological impact. The feeling of safety in their own home was gone, replaced by the chilling image of that silent, watching figure. Their story soon became the talk of the neighborhood watch group. As they shared the video, a disturbing pattern emerged. At least 5 other neighbors reported seeing a man trying door handles that same night. Other cameras had captured a bearded man in a white hoodie, sometimes on a bike, prowling through alleys. They called him the Bucktown Creeper. This wasn't a random event, it was an opportunistic predator, and Jack and Jordan had simply been the ones who forgot to lock a door. This crime preys on our most basic sense of security. It's not about what's taken, but about the sanctity of the space that's invaded. The horror comes from the simple, terrifying act of being watched when you are most vulnerable. For Jack and Jordan, life changed instantly. Their story is a stark reminder that the locks on our doors are only as strong as our memory to use them. And sometimes, the most terrifying thing a security camera can show us is not what was stolen, but who was there, watching in the dark. 3 homes, 3 families, 3 stories that prove the deepest sense of security can be shattered in an instant, from a digital predator whispering through a baby monitor, to a spy camera disguised as a rock, to a silent watcher in the dead of night. These events show that the horrors in movies are sometimes pale imitations of the real world. They're a potent reminder that the walls of our homes aren't always enough to keep the darkness out. Sometimes, the only thing standing between safety and terror is a strong password, a vigilant neighbor, or the simple act of turning a lock. Which of these would you find the most terrifying? The voice in your child's room, the hidden camera on your street, or the silent figure watching you sleep? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more true horror stories that will make you think twice about the world around you, check out the video on your screen now. Stay safe and always be aware of your surroundings.